The International Criminal Court is an illegitimate international organization that, frankly, illegitimate. They've made themselves illegitimate because they claim that even if you're not a member of that court, they can come after you.
It was a global tribunal staffed by unelected globalist bureaucrats who claim their power is almost unlimited. Independence is our birthright. We will never let foreign bureaucrats take that away from us. We will teach them the full meaning of American resolve.
Welcome back to the channel. A full-scale geopolitical collision has erupted between the United States government and the International Criminal Court in The Hague. In one of the most aggressive foreign policy moves in modern legal history, Washington has officially declared open war on foreign judicial overreach, branding the global tribunal an illegitimate runaway institution that threatens fundamental sovereign independence. The battle lines have been drawn at the highest levels of global power. The U.S. government has taken the unprecedented step of imposing direct, punishing economic sanctions against ICC President Tomoko Akane, alongside senior trial prosecutors. The message coming out of Washington is loud, clear, and uncompromising. Foreign bureaucrats thousands of miles away will never be allowed to dictate laws, issue arrest warrants, or drag American soldiers, law enforcement personnel, or sovereign political leaders before an unelected global bench. As Washington launches a sweeping diplomatic offensive aimed at convincing nations around the world to permanently dismantle their ties with the court, the entire international legal order is being shaken to its core. Let's dive into the conversation.
The Trump administration has escalated its fight with the International Criminal Court. The United States has imposed sanctions on Tomoko Akane, the Japanese judge who serves as president of the International Criminal Court, according to the U.S. Treasury Department. The move marks the latest step in Washington's campaign against the Hague-based court, which prosecutes cases involving war crimes, genocide, and crimes against humanity.
The International Criminal Court is an illegitimate international organization that, frankly, illegitimate. They've made themselves illegitimate because they claim that even if you're not a member of that court, they can come after you. And what that literally means in the future is that American servicemen, political leaders, and others could find themselves under indictment by this International Criminal Court. If you want to know a little bit about it, Jack Smith used to work there. These are the people that think they can go out and basically indict any world leader and haul them into The Hague. So we tried to get them to reform and listen to us. They wouldn't do it. They're very arrogant. We've now begun an effort to really try to bring that court to heel.
By the way, there's no information that they're after me. It could happen. I wouldn't be, but just so you know, because she's talking about it, I'm saying that means that maybe he's not trying to defend me. He is trying to defend Bibi and various other people. But there are many people that shouldn't be looked at that way. But there is no indication that I'm one of them at this moment.
That's right. Well, and I actually think the people who are in biggest danger in our system are servicemen, people in uniform. That they'll try to go out for the rest of their lives, will not be able to travel anywhere in the world with their families because they can be arrested on one of these acts. Imagine, you're a soldier, you fought in a war, and 20 years later they try to come grab you. So this is a big problem. So we've had dozens of countries already join us in this effort. Since we started 2 weeks ago, 5 countries have already quit the ICC and notified them that they're leaving, and we think there'll be more.
The United States is not a member of the ICC, but Washington has strongly opposed the court's actions involving Israeli leaders and American personnel. Last year, the U.S. sanctioned several ICC officials, including prosecutors and judges, after the court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. The ICC has also faced U.S. criticism over its previous investigation into American troops in Afghanistan. The measures can freeze any U.S.-based assets belonging to the targeted individuals and effectively cut them off from the American financial system. The latest move against Akane comes as the administration seeks to further pressure the ECC. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said last month that Washington would step up efforts to undermine the court, including through a diplomatic campaign encouraging other countries to leave the institution. Rubio has argued that the ICC could threaten U.S. personnel involved in Trump's immigration policies, military operations, and strikes on boats allegedly carrying drugs, as well as other American service members.
For 250 years, Americans have governed ourselves as a free and sovereign people. We choose our own leaders, we determine our own laws, and when we're accused of a crime, we stand for judgment before a jury of our own peers. This is the essential and indispensable feature of our form of government. It is the foundation of our shared way of life. But today, powerful people in faraway places want to take that away from us. They believe that they should be in charge of your laws, of your country, your life, and they don't care whether or not you agree. Halfway across the world, there's an institution that calls itself the International Criminal Court. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. But chances are you don't know the names of its judges, of its prosecutors, or its president. And you shouldn't have to. But as we speak, the ICC and its friends are waging a war against our country, not with bullets or missiles, but with statutes, compacts, and the force of so-called international law. When the ICC was born 24 years ago, they told us that it was merely a narrow backstop, a global court that would step in to prosecute only the gravest offenses, things like genocide and war crimes, and only when a nation's courts were unable to prosecute them on their own. But the truth is, it was something far more radical and extreme. It was a global tribunal staffed by unelected globalist bureaucrats who claim their power is almost unlimited. The danger of this global court has only continued to grow. Today, it threatens every aspect of our political and legal system. Border Patrol agents removing violent criminals from our country, American Marines risking their lives to defend our homeland, prosecutors working to dismantle terrorist plots to attack and kill Americans. If we stand idle, all of them would be at the mercy of foreign judges thousands of miles away, facing the constant risk of prosecution and even imprisonment for the so-called crime of defending their own country. The American people never agreed to any of this, and they never will. Read the words of our Declaration of Independence. We fought a revolution against a foreign power, transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses. Independence is our birthright. We will never let foreign bureaucrats take that away from us. This administration will not sit by as the ICC and its allies seek to threaten our people. If they believe they can deprive us of our sovereignty, we will teach them the full meaning of American resolve.
The sanctions have already triggered a legal battle. In June, 3 ICC judges sued Trump and his administration, arguing that the sanctions imposed on them were unlawful. And on Tuesday, the Treasury Department issued a general license allowing transactions involving Akane to be wound down through September the 17th. The Trump administration says its campaign is aimed at protecting allies such as Netanyahu from what it considers illegitimate prosecution. But Reuters has reported that the sanctions were also intended, in part, to deter future attempts to hold Trump or his officials accountable for U.S. military actions overseas. The ICC, meanwhile, maintains that it can exercise jurisdiction over certain crimes committed on the territory of member states, even when the alleged perpetrators come from countries that are not members of the court. The latest sanctions against Tomoko Akane therefore represent more than just a financial penalty. They signal another escalation in the growing confrontation between Washington and the International Criminal Court, and a widening battle over who gets to hold powerful political and military figures accountable for alleged international crimes.
Well, here's how I reconcile it. We're not members of the ICC. We never signed that treaty. We never joined it. And they somehow claim that they have a right, nonetheless, to go after non-treaty members and put heads of state and others in jail. We've long had quarrels with them, and we have lunatics and crazies involved in the ICC that are talking about charging members of the U.S. military, maybe even the president or a future president, with crimes. I mean, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We are not members of that court. We never signed on to that treaty. They need to understand that. If people want to sign on and be a part of that stupid organization, they can. But we're not going to be a part of it, and they're not going to apply their jurisdiction to Americans. That's just not going to happen. We're not going to tolerate it now or in the future, and we've warned them about it repeatedly. And now they're going to see the consequences of ignoring.
The conflict reached a dramatic fever pitch when the U.S. Treasury Department officially announced targeted sanctions against Japanese Judge Tomoko Akane, who serves as president of the ICC. Under these executive orders, any U.S.-based assets belonging to targeted court personnel are immediately frozen, and foreign actors are effectively cut off from performing transactions through the U.S. financial system. Washington's core argument centers on a fundamental principle of global governance. The United States is not a signatory to the Rome Statute, never ratified the treaty, and has never consented to ICC authority. Despite this, the tribunal in The Hague has continually asserted sweeping universal jurisdiction, claiming the power to investigate, indict, and prosecute citizens of non-member nations for alleged actions taken within member territories. Why is the US government taking such drastic action now? The administration's pushback stems from high-stakes cases where the ICC attempted to extend its reach over non-member states, including arrest warrants issued for top foreign leaders like Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Furthermore, American officials point out that the threat extends directly to individual American service members, border patrol officers executing immigration laws, and military personnel conducting counter-narcotics operations. Under the ICC's expansive interpretation, service members could face global arrest warrants issued years after serving their country. To prevent citizens from being placed at the mercy of foreign judges operating without constitutional oversight, Washington has initiated a whole-of-government response to neutralize the tribunal's leverage. Washington's campaign has evolved into a global diplomatic push to systematically weaken the court's standing. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced that the United States is actively encouraging allied nations across the globe to formally withdraw their membership from the court and reject its jurisdiction entirely. Multiple nations have already notified the court of their official intention to exit the treaty, sparking fears within the legal establishment of a domino effect that could leave the court isolated on the world stage. While ICC officials and human rights organizations argue that sanctions attack judicial independence, Washington asserts that a free people can only be judged under their own constitution by a jury of their peers. This standoff between Washington and The Hague represents a defining ideological conflict over the future of national sovereignty and international governance. As the U.S. steps up its financial restrictions and diplomatic efforts to dismantle the tribunal's reach, the world is witnessing a historic turning point in international relations. What are your thoughts on this battle over global jurisdiction? Leave a comment down below and let us know your perspective. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, share this video, and click the subscribe button right now to stay updated on all major geopolitical news as it breaks. Thanks for watching.